what you see happening. People are just trying to defend, you know what I mean, their viewpoint, their pre-existing viewpoint and ideas, especially when they are challenged. You see? So anyway, the individual will then react by attempting to assert that his or her views are right and others are wrong. You see, this is what ends up happening now. Gemini is connected to the natural air triad in the zodiac of Libra and Aquarius. The air triad reflects communication and collection of a diversity of information. This is Gemini. This is what it symbolizes. Diversity of information that will then determine with whom, we form relationships through comparison and contrast with others. We bond and socialize only with those who are like-minded. Now that's an Aquarian trait, because Aquarius is also dealing with the law of attraction. Like attracts like, So that's how that air triad works, Okay, all right. Just injection for those tuning in. If you want to, if you're having difficulty in tuning into the show through the apps you're trying to use at the moment, whether, I was just sent a message that the TuneIn app works. You have to type in Bless Radio, and you have to see the Tree of Life symbol, then you're on the right, radio station. But if you're having difficulty, just to let you know that YouTube is working and the internet. So you can type in www.blessradio.org in order to gain access, to tune in to the show right now. And the phone lines are working. I don't know what's happening. And I'll give the number out. It's 079 444 31366. 079 444 31366. 079 444 31366. That is the number for the studio call in. Okay, if anybody wants to inject in this flow and discourse that I'm giving, but I'm going to go further into this Gemini Sagittarius business, left brain, right brain, and all about, your mental processing and how you gather information and what is blocking you from penetrating any deeper into the knowledge the information you may be gathering but not assimilating. There's a reason why this is happening, why there's a block going on, and I've been explaining this throughout the show. So I'm going to continue. So now, the air triad reflects communication and collection of a diversity of information. Gemini deals with diversity of information and will then determine whom we form relationships, with through comparison and contrast with others. Gemini is a socializing sign. They can say it's a bit of the flirt or the butterfly of the zodiac because it's always on the next thing. When you look upon a butterfly, it doesn't rest on a flower. When you observe it, it's always moving, drinking nectar from this one, that one, this one, that one. It doesn't, stay long, really, unless it's resting, with all that moving about, busy socializing, you see, this is the nature of Gemini. It can be very into socializing. So through the socializing, through comparison and contrast with others, one bonds or socializes only with those who are like-minded and who share the same ideas, viewpoints, and mental orientation in general. That's cool. In addition, the information we take in, Gemini, will allow us to contrast ourselves against others through the attraction of a partner who mirrors or reflects our sense of individuality back to us. That's Libra. So you're seeing how all the air trines work together. All the air signs work together simultaneously. All right. So if somebody say that they're a Gemini, well, you got Aquarius, you got Libra as an air sign working simultaneously as well as a dynamic of the archetypes within you. Okay. So just letting you know that nothing's isolated here. So I'm really giving a thorough breakdown here because it's very, very important. So it's vital. So you compare yourself, so this is Gemini, the take in, the information we take in will allow us to compare, contrast ourselves against others through the attraction of partners who mirror or reflect our sense of individuality back to us. Libra. When we can then form the appropriate social groupings, bondings with like-minded souls and continue expressing our unique individuality through such liberation and the process of deconditioning, Aquarius corresponds with deconditioning, okay? A crucial lesson reflected in the archetype of Gemini is that there is a limitation to what the rational and empirical mind can know. This is what's going to happen to you, Geminis, no matter how much information you gather and what you're taking in. Yeah? Information you're taking in. Gemini deals with taking in information from outside. Okay? So, like this is part of a Gemini thing. However, you cannot just stay in a Gemini left-sided brain thing when you're dealing with knowledge. Because you're going to come to a realization, a crucial lesson ends up becoming reflected in the archetype of Gemini, which is that there is a limitation to what the rational and empirical mind can know. The intellect or intellectual mind does not know what true and what false. Okay? The intellectual mind does not know what is true and what is false. Let me repeat that again. The intellectual mind does not know what is true and what is false. Take that in for a moment, okay? A lot of people, I know this, I know that from an intellectual perspective. But the intellectual mind does not know. It thinks, but it doesn't know what is true or what is false. This realization triggers the need to embrace or evolve towards the polarity of Sagittarius. So it's when you start to experience the limitations of your intellectual, rational thinking process is when the polarity point has to step in, where you realize, because there's Geminis who say they don't like Sagittarius, and really they might as well say that they don't like the left side of them or the right side of them. You see all this separate mentality of people are saying, I don't like this sign, I don't like that sign. I used to know somebody who was a Scorpio, and they never liked Taurians, right? They didn't like them, and I like them, and I get on with them. But here's the big joke. Both of their children were Taurians. You see how kind of crazy we can get on, yeah? Denying the other half of ourselves because, you've gone to an extreme and have become imbalanced. And now you're perceiving the other part of yourself as the enemy when actually it's the part that's going to balance you up to make you, get yourself back together. Isn't that something? Huh? Anyway, so now we're coming into Sagittarius. And see how Sagittarius now balances up the whole show to do with the intellect. Because I just explained the limitations of the Gemini. Yeah? Mercurial intellect. Yeah? Its way of processing information. It's just gathering a whole heap of diversity of information. But it's not assimilating any of that information. Because you cannot get to knowing what facts is true and what facts is false through the intellectual process, through the intellectual mind. I trust you all are getting this. Yeah, I trust y'all to get it. So, the polarity point of Gemini is Sagittarius. So when I say polarity point, realize that means the opposite sign to the one you're looking at. Okay? The opposite sign to the one you're looking at. The polarity point. Yeah? That's what's going to give you the balancement. That's what's going to give you the answer to your question. Do you hear? All right? That's what's going to give you the answer to your question. All right? So, the polarity point of Gemini is Sagittarius. Sagittarius correlates to the right brain and our intuition and corresponds to the need to understand life in a metaphysical, cosmological, or philosophical manner. Thus, Sagittarius symbolizes our belief structure. You hear? Our beliefs are the determinant. Now listen. We can go on about belief and the word believe and belie and all them sitting there. But our beliefs are the determinant on how any of us will interpret life. So your beliefs, your belief system is how you are interpreting life. So our beliefs are the determinant. It determines how any of us will interpret life. Whereas Gemini reflects the process of collecting a diversity of information from the external environment, Sagittarius reflects the process of assimilation and interpretation, of those facts into a holistic understanding or belief system. Holistic. So you see, there's integration going on here, not dissecting stuff up. All right? Expecting to come to a holistic point of view, which is what Gemini does. That's what Gemini does. That's what the left side of the brain, the intellect, does. So they can give themselves a hard time, Star. And other people a hard time. You understand? So, because they're getting in their own way. And attracting to themselves that which reflects the way they think. And if they are introduced with a different viewpoint, they get defensive or can get defensive. All right? Or defensiveness manifests if the pre-existing viewpoints and ideas are challenged. So there's no growth going on here. All right? The sense of security is being derived from just gathering more information, but with no real intention to assimilate, to know anything. All right? That can be part of the weakness in the Gemini or the mercurial or left side intellectual thinking process, okay? So Sagittarius symbolizes our belief structure. Our beliefs are the determinant on how any of us will interpret life. Whereas Gemini reflects the process of collecting a diversity of information from the external environment, Sagittarius reflects the process of assimilation and interpretation of those facts into holistic understanding or understanding now, which becomes your belief system. Ultimately, we realize through the Sagittarius polarity point that the truth exists in and of itself and cannot be known by the rational mind alone. The key here is to learn the difference between facts and opinions. When we can do this, we can come to an understanding of how all facts we take in connect to the bigger picture or larger concept. This is reflected in the Sagittarius polarity point. Okay? Sagittarius likes to see the bigger picture. You understand what I mean? It wants to see the bigger picture. How does these pieces come together in a holistic way? Right? So it can penetrate beyond the superficial of and discriminate between the difference between what facts are reflecting truth to what opinions are just reflecting one's, mental biases. Okay? One's own pre-existing points of view that they don't want to change. Is what I'm saying? So, understand how this is working in you. These archetypes are working in you. Within each and everybody. So, through the process of embracing the Sagittarius polarity, we develop our intuition. Hi, intuition is here. Our intuition, which is firmly centered in our right brain, we become aware of or focus on the larger picture in life and conceptual a conceptual wholeness versus details and mental analysis, symbolized by Gemini. So let me just slow down and come back and repeat what I said. So, through the process of embracing the Sagittarius polarity, we develop our intuition, which is firmly centered in our right brain. You hear people say, are you in your right mind? You notice that? You hear them talk? Are you in your right, God-given mind? You know what I mean? Are you thinking rightly? Well, now you know, so that when you chat about the right, you chat about intuitive mind. See? Okay. So, through the process of embracing the Sagittarius polarity, we develop our intuition, which is firmly centered in our right brain. We become aware of or focus on the larger picture in life and conceptual wholeness versus details and mental analysis, symbolized by Gemini. All right? Or Mercury. Okay? Or Mercury, wherever Mercury is. In Sagittarius, we simply know what we know without knowing how we know it. Yeah? In Sagittarius, we simply know what we know without knowing how we know it. This is the intuitive faculty in all of us. Another important point to address is that we must tune into this intuitive faculty in order to quiet the busy mind. As we embrace the lessons of the Sagittarius polarity, we will pick one comprehensive system of knowledge that feels right so that we can create a holistic, consistent way in which to interpret all the facts we collect. All unnecessary data, information, and facts that we have gathered will be eliminated in this way, and any mental chaos that we previously felt will no longer be experienced. All right? You see that? Because Gemini want to grab this, grab that, and hold up information here, there, this, that, but there's no specifics. You're not getting relative with the information. What is this information doing for me? How is it helping me know myself? Know myself. Not just gathering a whole heap of information to say I know this, I know that, when you don't know. The intellect don't know the difference between what fact is true and what fact is false. See? So, you see, so it's the intuition you have to develop, which is symbolized by Sagittarius. All right? The intuition is developed through reflecting, not thinking, but reflecting on the information you are now going to assimilate through a reflection. To integrate it. Seen? So with reflection, you're not thinking. You're contemplating. And this is how you activate your intuitive faculty in order to quiet your busy mind, because Gemini's mind could be restless like busy. Highly strung, can be highly strung. Man and woman, highly strung. Yeah? As we embrace the lessons of the Sagittarius polarity, we will pick one comprehensive system of knowledge that feels right. This is now how you approach information. How is this relevant to me? You have to get specific. You can't just be running around being a hoarder of information. Because this is the reason why people chat about, I'll always be a student. I'm a forever student. I'm an eternal student, you see. Like that's some, I don't know. That's like some epitome of being, having humility. That's stagnation. That means say you not learn nothing. How can you always be a student? You'll have to be able, that's ridiculous. And some people say these things and, you know what I mean, and I will be the controversial one and say, a stupidness that, man. Because you can't keep right now. You cannot keep both you are, what? You learning, and you know nothing yet. You know nothing that you can share and teach with others. You still I learn. A stupidness that, man. And you get some people says, well, we are both students and teachers. You know what I mean? Well, that would be better. Rather than saying you're just an eternal student, seeking, but not with the intention to find a thing. This is how you get with some people, man. You know what I mean? Them just intellect, man, and them blocking out anything that is that challenges their pre-existing points of view. You know, see how it go? So their mental bias doesn't enable them to gain any truth, any metaphysical, cosmological, philosophical understanding of themselves, where they can begin to see things in more of a holistic context. Everything is fragmented, man, and have to be categorized and all them sitting there. You know what I mean? So you're limiting yourself. You can't get to the truth them ways there. You have to activate the intuition. And the intuition gets activated through reflection. Like you say, the reflection got the better of me, y'all. You know what I mean? And therefore, through a revelation, through intuitive revelation, you gain a knowing without knowing how you know. Because you're accessing the inner knower. You see? True intuition. True Sagittarius. You see what I'm saying? And sage, that begins the word Sagittarius, means wisdom. Hello? It means wisdom. Sage Ateria. Sage means wisdom. Okay? So you have this inner wisdom you can access. But it's only accessed through intuition. Through the right brain. So intuitive faculty. So we must tune into this intuitive faculty in order to quiet the busy mind. And you have to focus. Right? You have to pick a comprehensive system of knowledge that feels right. You have to begin to discriminate between information you gather and get specific and how relative is this to me. This, otherwise you're just, you know, anyway, I've said it already, but I am emphasizing this. I can't emphasize this no more. You know, I can't overemphasize this because you're living in a society that is just information crazy. Everybody wants to sword fight with the other about their opinions. You know, see where I go? Facts that they have no idea of knowing what is false to what is true. You know, see where I go? So nobody gets to any knowing or any growth or, you know what I'm saying? If you remain in this intellectual left-sided brain of approach of gathering information and depending upon external data. That means you're just getting programmed. Anyway, so This is why with the diversity, you have to then focus. Pick one comprehensive system of knowledge that feels right. Comprehensive system. You have to be able to comprehend it, so that we can create a holistic and consistent way in which to interpret all the facts we collect. All unnecessary data, information, and facts that we have gathered will be eliminated in this way. So you won't be burdened with a whole heap of useless information in your head. And mental chaos that we previously felt will no longer be experienced. The right and left brain become balanced within consciousness. As this balance is achieved, the ability to teach natural law through illustration of a diversity of facts that demonstrate the same natural principle will become unsurpassed. Sagittarius reflects the natural abilities that we all have. Evolution takes place when we discriminate between facts that reflect the truth and opinions that reflect our own mental biases. This realization that truth is relative is vital for an evolutionary point of view. Typically, the lesson will be learned through intellectual, philosophical confrontations, this is what happens, with others in order to expose the limitations of the individual's viewpoint, a mental structure. So these confrontations are there to expose the limitations you have in your viewpoint so you can expand. But some people get defensive and them don't want to, you know what I mean? They don't want to part with their pre-existing viewpoints. The next minute you just have a pure argument or go on. You know what I mean? Who's right? Everybody else, one's right, the other's wrong, and who's proving who and what. And you're miles away from truth now. You're just actually emphasizing your insecurities, your mental insecurities of what you think and believe you know. You understand what I'm saying? When you don't know a thing. This is, you know what I mean? This is a bit, yeah, you don't know a thing. This is, this is the intellect. This is what has given people the false idea that they know things because they're so intellectually groomed. And they don't know how to balance up the intellect with the intuition, which transcends the intellectual thinking process. Intuition is a higher form of intelligence which transcends your intellectual limitations. You know, see? All right. So typically this lesson will be learned through intellectual philosophical confrontation with others in order to expose the limitations of the individual's viewpoints and mental structure. Once we have realized this point, we will no longer have to label ourselves right and the other person wrong. Yeah? Which is, yeah, the difference between, so you won't be bouncing back and forth between the polarity of Gemini and Sagittarius. Oh, this is right. No, that's wrong. I'm right. They're wrong. They're right. You're wrong. All them sitting there. Yeah, you're bouncing up and down like a seesaw, up and down. Yeah? No stability, no balance. This is the reason what happens in the mind when there's no balance between the right and left hemisphere, and understanding how uniquely they both differently function. All right? And how to access the right side of your brain, which is more, which actually uses a different kind of language. It uses symbols and imagery, which is why imagination is paramount. You know, as in a faculty to develop imagination, symbology, symbols, pictures. You know what I'm saying? These are creative aspects of the right side of the brain, and how intuition. Okay. So the difference between a reaction and a response will be learned in this way. You see, when you transcend, once we have realized the point, okay, as I just explained already, we will no longer have to label ourselves right and the other person wrong. The difference between a reaction and a response will be learned in this way. Again, through embracing the polarity point, we can attain the capacity to intuitively grasp the connection of all the facts that we gather, which Sagittarius polarity, and come to a holistic understanding of these facts. We can then become very adept, at communicating and teaching this understanding to others. So this polarity point, yeah, ninth house, Sagittarius governs the ninth house, and Gemini governs your third house in astrology. So this polarity ninth house correlates to the archetype of the teacher, or the natural wisdom that any of us have, okay, and can then teach others. The natural wisdom that any of us have and can teach others. This is the beauty of the Gemini archetype when it is expressed in its pure form. In its pure form. So me done and me stop right there, sir. Well, it's 10:32, and yes, I came in and started a little behind the allocated time. But as I said, I was going to give the information here about information, all right? How the difference between the intellectual, the left side brain, and the right-sided brain. And that, you know, you have to come to a realization, yeah, that there is the limitation in the intellect, okay? The intellectual mental processing. There's a limitation that limits you from penetrating deeper into information in order to gain truth. You see what I'm saying? There is that limitation that has to be transcended if you are going to come home to truth, or if you're going to remain in intellectual debates, caught up in just your opinions and not knowing how to discern the difference between facts that reflect the truth, which is natural law, okay? Because understand, Sagittarius now wants to comprehend itself within the cosmological, metaphysical, philosophical way in those terms. Because you're dealing with holistic science, holistic knowledge there. You're not dealing with fragments and bits and bytes and, you know what I'm saying? All that different type of data, which, if not simulated, just means you just clog up with a whole heap of whatless, useless information. You know what I'm saying? It's like having a whole heap of useless things on your phone. Yeah, you're just saving a whole heap of pictures and recordings and video. You're saving all this flipping stuff on your phone, and they clog up your phone. Yeah. Whatless, useless information. None of it's being assimilated to go beyond surface in order to go deep, tap in, penetrate into the depth in order to activate the intuitive knowing. Okay? To see things from a holistic way. You see what I mean? It keeps you in duality, polarity of this is right, this is wrong, this verse is against that, and, you know, you're missing the whole rotten point. So that also can be reflected, that could also be reflected in as I said, we're moving out of the old paradigm, people, of separation and delusion and deception. All right? And sometimes folks has even seen Gemini as the trickster. You know what I mean? And then, you know, we're dealing with holistic knowledge now. You know, see where I'm going. So this is Sagittarius. So this is what integrates, you see, that which was perceived as separate, you see, from the intellectual left brain, left-sided thinking. So, yes, I trust that you get that, and, you know, I don't want to continue repeat myself, but repetition is good still, you know, on certain things. So you have to realize this, people. So when I'm telling you, yeah, there must be, you know, there must be a willing to eliminate or let go certain outdated or rigid opinions within ourselves that are creating blocks from an evolutionary point of view. Okay? And you have to come to the realization that the intellect or intellectual mind does not know what is true and what is false. This realization triggers the need to embrace or evolve towards the Sagittarius intuition, getting in touch with your inner wisdom. So Sagittarius correlates to the right brain and our intuition and corresponds to the need to understand life in a metaphysical, cosmological, or philosophical manner. All right? So Sagittarius also symbolizes our belief structure. So therefore, in saying that, and because of your belief structure is what determines the way you perceive life. So nobody can get away from that. So if your belief structure is quite limited and not expansive, like Sagittarius naturally would, want to evolve and grow, then even a Sagittarian can get messed up because they're not tapping into their intuition. They're just getting caught up in the left side of the brain now, the intellect, and they're just darting all over the place, not focusing, you see what I'm saying, upon a specific thing that has relevant meaning to them that they can comprehend. So Sagittarius can get caught up in shooting its arrows all over the place because as soon as something else comes across its mind, it runs after that. Oh man, I'm curious there. Oh, another thing. Oh, damn. Oh, I'm curious there. That's how Sagittarius can flex. Yeah, when you're dealing with the egocentric aspect of Sagittarius. It's darting all over the place. And you can't hit a target when you shoot all over the place. You have to become focused. You see, you got to get focused. You can't see nothing without focusing. You see what I'm saying? Everything's blurry. Blurry. So you need to focus, forget things in a clarity. You know, see how I go. So you have to come to these realizations, you know. And so yes, as I said, you know, you have to come to realize that you have to evolve beyond the rational intellectual mind. You have to evolve past it. Yeah? Okay? So that's it, people. That's it, my soul brothers and sisters. That's it. That's it for this evening. That's it for this evening. So the last thing I will leave you with a repetition of what I've already said to emphasize it. You see, as I said, Gemini symbolizes the need to give names and classification to the phenomenal environment. Yeah? So there is this emphasis on facts rather than the deeper metaphysical truth of these facts. So Sagittarius, the right brain, enables you to penetrate beyond the superficial, beneath the surface, okay, to gain deeper metaphysical insight, to be able to receive and perceive truths of these facts, right? And be able to discern the difference between facts that reflect the truth of natural law differently to your opinions, which are only reflecting your biased mental or your own mental biases. So I hope that assists for how you have to approach knowledge and how to deal with your mind. Okay? So on that note, yes, I am going to make a move. Yeah, because look now, it's nearly 11. Nearly 11. So yeah, 11 and nearly 11 I've entered in heaven, so it's about that the time. So I will be what's going on here, y'all? Trying to sort out certain things. And yeah, the things and the things behind communication. So so yes, my soul brothers and sisters, I'll be signing out now. So I trust you get a good shadow hour and work through this full moon in Virgo, which is about the moon is emotional security, and realize that the void can only be filled by a direct relationship with source. Create a source within you, which is your soul. Okay, but it seems like so many people just want to be a person. You see, you talk about soul and they just ignore that as if to say you haven't said anything and get back about the person. You see what I mean? Everybody wants to identify with the mask and not with the indweller and that which is looking out behind the mask and through the mask. And even the word person means through sound, you know? So who's vibrating and sounding through the mask? Anyway, people, soul people, yes, so calling it an evening, and I wish you all the best, and know that there's a new cycle that begin on with, you know, how you're approaching your intrinsic, unique identity, because we've come out of a 7-year, Uranus liberating and deconditioning the unconscious from all of the false identification we've been holding on to through social conditioning, sociological conditioning and cultural conditioning. And some folk may feel like, but what do you mean? Culture is what we need. But I won't go into that this evening, because you could have culture that messes up people. See? So let's you know, let's be real. So all right, so on that note, I wish you all a good shadow hour. And yes, catch you on the flip side, y'all. Wow, 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 wow.